So let me introduce them all. Tokala Tatum is a writer and film director, now turned comic book creator. Is releasing his first graphic novel titled The Downwinder. From the Yakama Nation, based in Seattle, Washington, this 26-year-old graduate from the University of Washington is making his mark in all things story. Roy Nicole.
Yeah.
Say your
My indigenous name is Dasha Hing.
Thank you. Didn't want to slaughter that.
It's okay.
Now, he is a contemporary Coast Salish artist from the Nuxalk tribe, and he is the lead illustrator and producer for Setting Sun Circle's first graphic novel titled The Downwinder. His work stretches across various mediums, including writing, acting, painting, and music production.
Yes.
His work is always grounded in lived experience or cultural teachings. Wow. Give it up for this panel.
Yeah.
So, Tokala, we can ask you the same question, so you got a little head start on this. How does your native culture or homeland help guide you as you create your art?
I think for me, when it comes to storytelling, and even within the comic book creation, like I'm the writer and creator of our first graphic novel, me and Roy, The Downwinder, which is with Setting Sun Circle, which is an indigenous nonprofit up in Washington State. That's where we're both from. And when it comes to being a storyteller and being inspired by the type of influences that I came from, I feel like I kind of break it up into two different aspects. I break it up into the traditional Native American culture that I've grown up in the Longhouse, which is back home, my Yakama tribe, and things of that nature. And also on the other end, growing up surrounded by the kind of contemporary Native American experience that a lot of us could relate to. And a lot of the times it not being the most pretty stuff, some stuff that we had to survive through, some stuff that we had to get through. And so when it comes to that, when I bring it back to story, the first thing that I remind myself once I have those two different aspects is reminding myself what stories are for. And stories have always been the passing of survival information. That's why storytelling lasts longer than sometimes even the storyteller themselves, lasts longer than the civilization themselves, lasts longer than I won't say the culture, but so to bring that back to the graphic novel that we're working on with The Downwinder, once I take those two things, I remind myself what storytelling is. I have those two aspects of my Native American experience that I've grown up in. It's me infusing that into our story. The Downwinder is about a young man who has the ability to transform into water. And he hops from job to job along the Columbia River, which is our river back home, which is also affected by a nuclear site, so it's got a lot of environmental activism in there. And so the thing with The Downwinder, it's about this young man who was infused with that radioactive material because he grew up on the river, his people grew up on the river. That's what he grew up around. That comes with a lot of struggle because the river was industrialized. And so infusing that into the storytelling aspect, but then also when you create the book, creating it through this type of like manga lens and inspired by anime, which is a very like unexplainable medium to me. The reason why anime and manga is so popular is because it's always one step ahead of the culture. It's always trying to break out the box. It's always trying to do something different. And so for me, when I started creating The Downwinder, that's what I was thinking of. Taking what I was rooted from, that traditional, that contemporary, and I'm like, but I want to break out that box, so I want to add my storytelling to the mix. You know, now we're here at Indigi-Con and San Diego Comic-Con. We want to show people that we can hang with everyone else. Yeah.
But how do you envision and use sequential art or images in your illustrations or comics?
I think for me, when it comes to sequential storytelling, again, it brings me back to that root of storytelling. And I said storytelling is the passing of survival information. but also what a story is. It's the telling or retelling of a series of events that leads to a conclusion. And the most important part in there is the teller. It comes from a certain perspective. Without that aspect, it's not a story. You have to have a teller that's telling it from their point of view. And so me coming into a story like this with the Downwinder and coming from my home, coming from the Columbia River, and learning about this and growing up in it, I think when it comes to using sequential storytelling, that's why I went in the route of a graphic novel, because a graphic novel is a little different from a comic book. Oftentimes graphic novels are a more overall encompassing of a story. You could kind of cram a whole story from beginning, middle, and end into a graphic novel. And so that was the way I used sequential storytelling in the Downwinder. And also beyond that, telling this story, just to give you guys one example, when I was growing up, I grew up on the Yakima Reservation. I grew up on the Columbia River. That's where I come from. It's where all my family come from. And the Columbia River was largely affected by the Hanford nuclear site. The Hanford nuclear site helped build the atomic bomb that was used in World War II. But also that radioactive material got put into silos, it leaks into the rivers, and it affected a lot of our food. But the thing about it though is that I was born in 1999, I'm 26 years old, but even when I was growing up in the early 2000s, it was still told to me as a rumor. It was like a rumor of a hearsay of, oh yeah, there might have been, some chemical material. That's how I was taught it. But this happened in the 50s. This happened in the 60s and the 70s. This is a long time ago. The fact that it was still being told as a rumor, that's how I infused my perspective through that sequential storytelling and started building this graphic novel.
So, what would you like to see happen at future Indigi-Con events?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's great here. This is my first time being here at Indigi-Con. This is my first time in San Diego. I've never been this far south, so it's definitely a great experience being here. But noticing something like this, coming here to San Diego and being a part of Indigi-Con, and also getting the chance to be a part of San Diego Comic-Con, which is the really big one. The one thing that I noticed about Comic-Cons is they're about pop culture. That means like we were in an Uber ride coming down here, and the Uber driver was asking us what San Diego Comic-Con was about, which is a shocking question because I thought he was going to be the one telling me. But the one thing the way that I explained it to him was, it's just all encompassing. It's everything. It's everything that's popular culture. And so I feel like as Indigi-Con continues to grow and just continue adding those aspects that's just overall all encompassing of pop culture. One idea is like there's a lot of not a lot, but there's like a few Native American video games. You have some TVs and a couple PlayStations. You have kids coming in here trying out the games and stuff like that. Just making it a full pop culture event. And some of the young ones were up here talking about cosplay. Just keep building on that. And I think the sky's the limit for something like Indigi-Con.
I believe so too. I think we can eventually rival Comic-Con. So last but not least, Roy. You have time to think about this.
Maybe too much
time. How does your culture or homeland help guide you as you create your art?
Well, firstly, I want to say thank you everyone for coming out here. I know we all come from different walks of life and, from probably across the country like we did. So it's really great to see everyone's faces and, shout out to all the amazing young artists who were on the panel before us. So yeah, Haishka for making the trip out here. That's how we say thank you in my Coast Salish territories, is we put our hands up and say Haishka. But to get on with your question, I've been working artist for the last 5 years about, and I'd say that my culture and my teachings, they're really just inherent within my art. I don't go into my art thinking, oh, how can I apply my culture to this? It's just already implied, like off rip. It's just there. So, Yeah, I mean, in cultural teachings that I apply to myself in my work ethic as well. You know, with Coast Salish art, there's this thing that we say where it's less is more. Coast Salish art is a very Coast Salish art is a very like simple art form, I suppose. I'm now realizing I should have threw up some slides for y'all of what some Coast Salish art looks like, but applying that sort of like less is more into this graphic novel scene was something that, you know, I really wanted to do. There's a little bit there that was kind of, that's not my best Salish art, but you know, it's contemporary. It's contemporary.
It's a lot better than I do.
Yeah.
So, how do you envision and use sequential art or images in your work?
Yeah, I never actually saw myself being a sort of sequential artist. It kind of just ended up being that way. I remember when Tokala and I first started talking about the Downwinder, I was like, oh yeah, who are we going to get to illustrate? And he was like, what are you talking about? You are. I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm very thankful that he convinced me to do that, because it was honestly really cool, because you see the impact that sequential art has on our youth. And I've seen it firsthand. You know, my little brother will come in and then he'll see, he's seen me work on the Downwinder, and he's seen like the pages, and he's like, whoa, and he's so nonverbal too. So like getting like oh, that's really cool is a monumental achievement on my part. He likes to try and be nonchalant, and you know, I'm like, it's okay to be corny sometimes, bro. It's fine.
Well, you know what? If he says something, you know you got a winner there.
Exactly.
So, what would you like to see happen at future Indigi-Con events?
Man, everything that everyone else has said has been really, really awesome. Like I want to see an artist alley. That'd be really cool. Support, you know, up and coming native artists from all over the place, from Alaska, from my Coast Salish territories, from New York, from, you know, if we really broaden it out too, you can even get indigenous artists from like the Philippines, because they had tribes before the Spanish conquistadors went there. I actually just got a contemporary piece from that side of my lineage as well. I've been showing Tokala this all day too. It's been my personality. But yeah, like showcasing that diversity of all the indigenous peoples of our world would be amazing to me.
I love that. I love.
Thank you. Yeah.
One question for each of you. We'll start here and go on down. Nobody can stop me. I'm out here. We had the young people on the panel earlier, and we've got a lot of young people in this audience. We've got parents who are going to go home, maybe the other ones that didn't come, and tell them about it. One piece of advice, because you're all established. One piece of advice to give to the up-and-coming artists.
I think for me, you know, me and Roy sitting right here, we both traveled here from Washington. We both worked for this company to create this graphic novel, but the way this thing happened was it happened organically. And I feel like for any youth to be able to show them that, you know, me and Roy met each other on a film set with this same company. We were younger, we were sitting there as production assistants, and while we were just killing time, Roy pulled out his iPad and started showing his artwork and his comic book ideas. I pulled out my phone and started showing my film scripts and my films and my story ideas. But that moment right there is where a friendship and a collaboration was born between two young Native people that, like I said, we want to break out that box. We're hungry. We want to, you know, we want to create something. And so I feel like to be able to give any youth, you know, I feel like that's a perfect example. And so, in order to put that into more clear words, I feel like for any youth in there, it's to not miss out on those opportunities. If you get an opportunity like this, take it. If you get an opportunity like that, take that too. And just take everything and just keep throwing yourself into it, and you don't know who you're gonna meet. And me and Roy met, and now we're out here at San Diego promoting our first graphic novel. If I could add one more thing, and it's to wrap it all around, you know, for me, myself, that's the first portion of the collaboration, of being with your people and creating something. But also for any youth out there, it's to remember that that your perspective matters. I was telling you guys about that Hanford nuclear site. When I grew up, it was told as a rumor. Naturally, people will tell me that perspective don't matter. The file's already out there. The government report's already out there. It's clear as day. But my perspective coming from back home, being on the reservation with my family and being taught as a rumor, that was my perspective. The only reason I'm standing on this stage right now and sharing my story is because I trusted that my perspective mattered just like everyone else's. And so don't forget that collaboration aspect for any youth out there. And also don't ever doubt if your perspective matters or not, because it does. And me believing in that is why I'm here today speaking to all of you.
Yeah, some tough acts to follow. Kind of to just piggyback off of what Tokala said, this is something that's really been hammered into me by my mentors, is you are exactly who you hang out with for no reason. So really just watch your circle, watch who you're around, because energies exchange, and if you're wanting to be like a really big established artist, you don't want to be hanging out with people who aren't going to be that, or aren't pursuing that, or aren't going to push you to be that. So hang out with people who are going to push you to be a better person, a better artist, and people that you want to push in that same way. I had one more, but I kind of forget what it was because there's a lot of people in front of me. But yeah, stay grateful for everything that comes through your door, and carry your last name with honor. That's something that's really big for me. Don't lose the plot on that. Don't lose the plot on that. I carry my family with me everywhere I go. So yeah, Haishka for having me. Appreciate y'all. Oh, y'all got the cuts? Y'all playing the cuts right now? All right, come back.